All right, so there's a couple things I want to do today. One is I want to share with you a product that I think will help a lot of people out when it comes to dust collection on Redline spindles. It's a product that's actually I've had for a few months, but I haven't shared with you guys. So now's the time to do that. Before I get into that, I want to share with you kind of an announcement on some things that are coming up. Um, I'm going to continue to do some CNC related things, of course, but I'm also wanting to share some things with you related to the print farm. And this will be things like maybe what printers and why I use what printers, why I feel like certain models are better than others, which ones I'd buy if I was buying just one or buying a whole print farm, um, maybe some tips and tricks on how to get the best prints on different types of material, maybe my actual slicer settings for the filament that I use and a recommendation for that specific filament types or types as it may be. I'll share with you some information about some filters that I've tested, maybe some nozzles and other third-party accessories I've tested, and also probably quite a bit on the print farm automation software that I use. And I've been using Simply Print now since the early days of the Bamboo Lab beta, and I'm very, very happy with it. I tested that as well as AutoQ, and I feel like, at least for my needs and probably for a lot of others, Simply Print is a more capable feature set. And there's some pros and cons there. There's some trade-offs, but it's also at a much lower price, and their support's been fantastic. Been super happy with it. I'm actually going to leave you guys an affiliate code, so if you want to check it out, you can get a 21-day free trial, and I think it's 30% off. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong with that, but I think it's 30% off if you decide you want to buy it. If you print a lot, highly recommend it. It's awesome, even if you don't have a big print farm. So with that, I'll share with you a quick note on a new product I think helps a lot of folks out with the Redline spindles. And it really stems from the fact that the Redline spindle's geometry is different, even though it's an 80 millimeter spindle, than the typical spindles people buy. And I say maybe typical, but the most popular in the Pwn CNC spindles. They're both 80 millimeters around, but the Pwn CNC spindle is 80 millimeters around further down. And so that means that the Redline spindle steps in as it goes down much sooner. And what that does is it creates a lot larger gap on top of the dust boot for air to come in through the top as opposed to the bottom. So just as an example here, I have a partially assembled Big Suck. And when the spindle plunges down to cut, you want the air to flow to come from the bottom, suck up a bunch of chips, and go on through the boot. But what happens is, if the spindle doesn't create a nice seal on the inside of the boot as it plunges down, a lot of the airflow comes from the top, which means it's not coming from the bottom. So you lose a lot of vacuum in that way. So one way to solve that is have a tighter boot, and that's why specifically on this boot I have this raised collar to try to create that seal a little bit better. But on the Redline, that's not very viable from a design perspective. So what I've done is I've created what I'm calling this buffer. And all it does is you mount it on the bottom portion of your Redline spindle. It's got these 3 set screws, so you can secure it to the spindle in the right spot and even center it a little bit if you need to, although it's a pretty snug fit without too much need for centering. And then when the bottom of the spindle comes down, it will create as tight a seal as does a different 80 millimeters spindle, like the Pwn CNC one, for example. It's got a little chamfer here on the bottom so that it sort of self-centers if your boot's off a little bit for some reason. And it also has some text that you probably can't see here, but on the top it says this side up. So when you're installing it, you can see, hey, this side's supposed to be up, the chamfered side's down, so that it self-centers, and then you get a much better seal out of your boot. I know it'll work well with my 2 dust boots, the Sidekick and the Big Suck. People are using it with both of those with good success, and it'll probably work with a lot of other boots that are designed for 80 millimeter spindles and improve their performance as well. It doesn't really rely on the boot. It really relies on just the different dimensions of the Redline spindle. So that's all it is. Pretty inexpensive product. I forget the price exactly, but I'll post it on the screen here when I edit the video. And these are available now if you want to check them out. And then if you might have noticed, Since I've been gone for the last 6 months, I've lost 40 something pounds. Feel much healthier than I was, feeling better, exercising, cardio 4 times a week. Now I'm doing strength training 3 times a week. Still going strong. I feel like I got another 10 to 20 pounds I want to shed, try to get myself in a little better shape still, but definitely a lot better off than I was. So thanks all you guys who watched the last video and responded in comments. I appreciate all the well wishes and all that. It was really heartwarming to see all that stuff. Thank you guys a lot. We'll see you in a day or two with another video.